everybody, Renaissance Gamer here. I'm guessing I know why you're all here. I mean, you know, the title and everything, so you probably got a good idea going. So anyway, I'm going to be making an in-depth analysis of The Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword. Now a little forewarning, I might have some bias, because I freaking love this game. Honestly, it's one of my all-time favorite Zelda games. And I really hope that by the end of this, I can maybe show you why, and even make you love the game more. But that does not mean I'm gonna pull any punches, not at all. In fact, this entire video is about the shortcomings, so get ready. So specifically, I will be assessing the motion controls, the amount of hand-holding, the amount of cutscenes, the open sky, the fetch quest nature, the reusing of the areas, and finally, the imprisoned. So, let's go! Oh yeah, spoiler alert! I just want to let you guys know that before you continue watching this video, this will contain major spoilers to the plot of Skyward Sword and just little neat things about the game in general. I figured you knew this, but I just want to let you know before, I don't want to ruin anything. But anyway, to start us off, let's address the biggest elephant in the room, folks. I know you know what I'm talking about. The motion controls of Skyward Sword. Are they good? Are they bad? Do they ruin the experience? I mean, we had Twilight Princess to feed off of, so just let me say this much. The Skyward Sword motion controls are honestly amazing. The hand-to-hand tracking with Link and yourself, the clever puzzles inside and outside of combat, and the ability to actually recenter your pointer are all massive improvements over Twilight Princess's atrocious controls on the Wii. Heck, the motion controls nearly immerse you and connect you with Link. Honestly, that's a good thing. But only most of the time. See, the motion controls are they're like a 9.5 out of 10, or 95%. Which means that 5% of the time, the controls just drop out on the player. This is a Legend of Zelda game, you know? The player needs to connect with Link. Heck, that's why Link is named Link. He acts as the bridge between the player and the game. So when 5% of the time the player is not connecting with the game due to no fault of their own and just motion controls in general, man, that just sucks. Not to mention the game's enemies will actually punish you for making mistakes. That's just, no. I mean, look at a game like Super Smash Bros. Melee. You can wave, dash, short hop, L, cancel, shine, multi-shine, wave, shine, triple shot. You could do so much. Now imagine if the game played with motion controls. Who needs those precise button pushes when you could just waggle your stick?
It's fun!
Oh my, what did I just say? Okay, all jokes aside, I'm lucky because the motion controls didn't ruin the game for me. I honestly had very little problems using them, but for some people that wasn't the case. So, why couldn't Nintendo just let the player choose between regular and motion controls? That's it, and nothing else. That alone would have solved this major grievance that happens to ruin the game for some people. When it comes to motion controls, it doesn't need to be or not to be. No, it can just, flexibility is power. That's all that Nintendo would have needed to do. Oh, man, the hand-holding. Okay, so I personally like Fie. I think she's a really cool character, and don't worry, I'll get into this later, but right now I'm gonna address the gosh darn fact that she handholds you so bloody much. Oh, come on, Fie. If I just upgrade an item, and I literally just learned how to use it, Fie, why the heck are you just repeating what I literally just heard? This isn't bloody RuneScape Tutorial Island, for Pete's sake. Not chopping trees, fishing, Oh, I miss RuneScape. That's a good game. Anyway, stop showing me step by step what to do. I'm smart, okay? I mean, reasonably so. Let me figure this out on my own. It's a Zelda game after all. That's the entire point. The mystery and the exploration. All that gets cut off when you're literally told, just hand-to-mouth fed information on what to do. You get an item. There's a puzzle that you previously couldn't overcome, but now you can. And you just use your wits and your bare hands, and holding the item, to overcome this task. That's such a sense of accomplishment. But this is totally ripped off, and the player is stripped of this reward if Fie just tells you what to do. You feel more like a slave than an actual intelligent adventurer. Fie, let me figure out that a boomerang is meant to be thrown or a beetle is meant to be flown. That's not hard. And okay, so the boomerang's not the Skyward Sword. You got my point. So besides items, Fee will always give the player specific directions whenever they enter a new area. Again, it just seems off in a Zelda game. It limits the sense of exploration that not only that you actually have, but that you feel that you have. And besides that, the puzzles in Zelda are always reasonable and fair. Sometimes difficult and frustrating, but always fair. So let me explore them on my own. Now, let me just say this. I don't mind objects like the Sheikah Stones or the Fortune Teller because although they handhold, they do so optionally. You know, it's not shoved in your face. If the player doesn't want that extra help, they don't need it. Games like Paper Mario also contain these Fortune Tellers, and that's totally fine. It's because they're optional. But Fee isn't. She's blabbering you in your ear so much you can't even think. And I don't know if that was the point or not, but let me think, man. Remember in Ocarina of Time when you first blocked at Dodongo's breath with your Deku Shield as a kid, thinking it would all be okay. Wood beats fire somehow. Yeah, well, that sucker burned to a crisp. And I bet you only made that mistake once, huh? You didn't do it again, right? See, this is a small little gripe on my part, but as soon as you enter Elden Volcano, Fee warns the player not to do that, which it takes out this tiny little aspect of trial and error. Well, trial and error, or punishing you for being dumb and blocking fire with a wooden shield. Anyway, it's just small things like that sucks about handholding in all games. This isn't just Skyward Sword's fault. This is just a fault in modern video games in general. The handholding takes away, it's funny to say, but the realisticness of games. Alright, let's move on. The cutscenes. Okay, so personally, I severely disagree with this grievance. I think the cutscenes add so much to the game, you have no idea. They help build up character relations and support immersion. Skyward Sword is like the unfolding of an epic on the grand scale of the Odyssey. And don't worry, I'll get into this later. Wait, why is this a negative thing again? Right, okay, so it's not to me, but here are what many fans dislike, and I will honor their opinions. Remember the beginning of A Link to the Past? Yo, Link! It's raining, man! And your point? Oh, well, yeah, your uncle left and, just go to the castle. And that was it. You're told nothing, and then you're released into the world. It's dangerous to go alone. Take this, and poof, off you go. It's all very Metroid-esque to me. But Skyward Sword is a cinematic journey, and for that reason, you are going to be watching your fair share of cutscenes. To be honest, guys, within the first hour of the game, you probably won't be playing a whole bunch. And to me, that's not even a bad thing. It's like so many Zelda fans complain that Skyward Sword takes like an hour to establish character, plot, emotion. It's like, what are you honestly going to be doing in 1 hour? That's not even that many. You know what? I mean, they're not bad. They're enjoyable. Groose is cool. Oh my god, is he cool? Zelda and Link, they're so nice. I'll cover it later. I guess, okay, so the cutscenes take a long time. And, for some people, that's not what a Zelda game should do. And, I can totally respect that opinion. Although I severely disagree that cutscenes and the length of them is a bad thing in Skyward Sword and most good games, I will respect the fact that people may not like that. What are people talking about? I loved this overworld. The sense of mystery and exploration, the calming music, the awesome feel of discovering an undersea cave. Huh? Wait. Oh, well, pull it up then. Oh, God. Okay, so admittingly, Skyworld's open sky is way less satisfying than the open sea in Wind Waker. For all its faults, I thought the Great Sea was still an amazingly immersive overworld that added so many wonders to Wind Waker. And to its credit, the open sky did try to recreate this sensation in a different manner. It's extremely pretty and has an awesome theme, but it just fell short in so many areas. The biggest one, yeah, it's just plain empty. Aside from Skyloft and the lumpy lumpy. It's hard to say, guys. The entire sky just contains a few mini games and a whole bunch of nothing. Oh wait, no, they're all the islands for the goddess chests. Yeah, did that sound authentic? Because what? The entire system of the goddess chest only exists to make the player think that the open sky isn't completely barren. Alas, guys, it is just that empty. Alright, and the second main issue is Link's waffling. Rather, it's the complaint about motion controls again, because honestly, although they're not bad, it's just, once again, why couldn't the player choose between motion and button controls? Because the game does a good job making Link and his waffling have an authentic relationship. Granted, not as strong as that between the King of Red Lions and Link in Wind Waker, but it still makes the two a likable pair. It's just that the motion controls, there's nothing wrong with motion controls sometimes, but unnecessarily forced motion controls, that's just unreasonable. And my third point about the open sky is that it's more of a hub world than a traditional Zelda overworld. The fact that the player is limited via the 3 portals when traveling to the ground just makes the whole experience feel more like a level select. And this really limits the exploration that Zelda games hold themselves to. In Ocarina of Time, for example, when adult Link was first introduced to the new world 7 years later, he could travel to Death Mountain before completing the Forest Temple if he wanted. Now granted, you really couldn't do much but be depressed because it's so depressing. But that freedom and flexibility was available to the player. But that's gone in Skyward Sword. The fact that the player is only introduced to each new area when the plot says you're ready to go there, it does really reduce the amount of exploration that all Zelda games should have. Now, to go back to the fact of it being a hub world, I do want to say that hub worlds can be positively brilliant. Obviously, Super Mario 64 and Banjo-Kazooie are coming to mind. But even when you observe the open sky as if it were a hub world, guys, it still just falls way too short. Does anyone remember the Fremnik trials in RuneScape? Oh, go here and talk to this guy so he can give you an item that you give to this guy that you can get an item from to kill this guy. Yeah, that's fetch questing. That is just pointless fetch questing. And yet I did it. I don't know why people played RuneScape. Anyway, unfortunately, some aspects of fetch questing are in Skyward Sword. I'll start with the least annoying offender. The upgrading item system. I personally think it is a really cool idea. To be able to optionally upgrade and further improve your arsenal, that's really cool. That's totally a step in the right direction for the Zelda series. But there is a problem with it in Skyward Sword. I'll admit this. The actual task of acquiring the random materials is kind of boring. I hate to say it, but it gets repetitive really soon. You have to go down to the mainland, randomly search around for just pointless little knickknacks like amber shards and see it tell you that you got one, even though you have 80 of them. You gotta keep doing it. Sometimes the player needs to upgrade their item in order to even make their quest more enjoyable. Like Link's beetle, for example. The beetle is slow. It's really slow, guys. And the game developers knew this since they give the player the opportunity to later on upgrade the beetle and make it faster. So if they intentionally made the beetle slow, then that means they kind of intentionally wanted you to waste time fetch questing to get the random items needed to upgrade it. But you know what's worse? The goddess cubes. So I already mentioned that, they only exist to fill up the otherwise empty open sky. But let me remind you of how actually tedious they are. You have to search for them on the ground level, only to strike them with the Skyward Strike, and then boom, off they go, whisked away. Why couldn't I just receive the chest upon smacking the cube with my sword? That's satisfying enough. That has the puzzle and search elements. But no, you'd have to go all the way back up to the sky and then back down the ground level if you wanted to keep rinsing and repeating this to gain all the different chests. I don't think anyone liked that. And then we have the Tad Tones. The Tad Tones of flooded Faron Woods. Definitely the dumbest part of the entire game. You know what? I don't even want to talk about it for more than one time because it's just so stupid. So guys, it is a huge fetch questing element, but that's it. Get over here. Next section. You're part of it. I'm going to talk about you later. I don't want to, but I will. The reused areas, guys. The reused areas in Skyward Sword. A lot of people really complain about Elden Volcano and Faron Woods, and there is definite reason to complain. Note, I am leaving Lanayru Desert off because many other people and I find it completely brilliant all 3 times. Seriously, I'll definitely talk about it. But yeah, there's definite reason to complain about Farron and Eldon. Why is this? Well, let's take a quick field trip to Death Mountain. When young Link traverses the area, he's welcomed by the friendly Goron race and just the cheery demeanor of Goron City in general. But you know, it wasn't comfort without mystery, as young Link's vulnerability to the extreme heat of Death Mountain still prevented him from going within the volcano or wherever else he pleased. He was limited to specific areas, but he did know of the others' areas' existence. These unknown territories definitely created a sense of mystery and suspense. Fast forward 7 years, and adult Link comes across Death Mountain again, although the second time around, all the warm comfort is replaced with emptiness and eeriness. The Goron race is gone, and Link must now utilize the new Goron tunic to travel inside the previously off-limits volcano. By the time Link finally confronts Volvagia, he's already overcome all the mystery and despair that stood in his way in the first place. This is how to reuse an area, guys! Link grows attached to Death Mountain as a kid, but then as an adult, he uses his newfound strength to reach new areas and save the Gorons. It's nothing short of brilliant. So, do Farron Woods and Eldon Volcano live up to this standard? In short, no. That's the problem with them. Besides the Silent Realms, Link's second visit to both areas it's really no different, except for the fact that this time he's tasked to gather the Sacred Flames. There's no great change in atmosphere like in Death Mountain. The player does not feel any great accomplishment in discovering the new areas because they were never really hinted at or relevant earlier. But what really is to blame was Skyward Sword's bold move to reuse the areas again. Eldon Volcano turned into a neat little espionage mission. You know, it kinda did remind me of the Forsaken Fortress in Wind Waker, so, I mean, it gets a pass for me, but I don't really know if that justifies it being reused again. But that brings me to Flooded Farron Woods. You know, I think I've been a little too hard on the Tad Tones. Let's look at the positives. So, you are tasked to swim around Farron collecting Tad Stones for the Song of the Hero. Why? Well, because you were told to. Yeah. Is it fun? No. Is it, well, it's creative, right? No. Oh, well, at least it adds to the emotional storyline, right? No. Oh, is it pointless fetch questing? Yup. Yes. See, the Zora egg collecting in Majora's Mask can be seen as equally fetch questy, but it isn't criticized. So why is this? Well, in Majora's Mask, the Great Base storyline is deeply emotional about the lamenting for the lost Zora eggs, and you're tasked to collect them and try and save a mother's happiness. That's huge. That has serious emotional significance. But the Tad Tones? Well, remember, you were told to just get them after all. Skyward Sword had some awesome bosses. I'm definitely not the first one to say this. The progression of the 3 Get-Him fights was done so well. And Koloktos? Wow, that's probably one of the best 3D Zelda boss fights ever. It's been so satisfying just smashing him in the face with his own sword, my goodness. Seriously though, I even found the Bloody Monsters Inc. Tantalus to be kind of fun. To be honest, it kind of scared me stiff the first time around. Tantalus stabbing through the ship in such suspense. I don't know, I really like how you interacted with Tantalus even before learning its identity. And yeah, I know, it looks kind of stupid. Well, yeah. But to be honest, the jarring appearance of Tantalus actually kind of freaked me out. Like some kind of uncanny valley thing. It just made me uncomfortable. Granted, if you didn't have this reaction, then yeah, Tantalus looked pretty dumb and underwhelming. But that's not what I'm here to talk about. Unfortunately, I gotta talk about the Imprisoned. Where do I even start? Well, he looks fearsome. Ferocious? Terrifying. Stupid?
Got it.
Yeah, stupid. That's just the thing. He looks so gosh darn dumb. And I'm like, Tantalus, it's actually very important that everybody find the Imprisoned intimidating. It's a huge deal if that's not the case. He is supposed to be the manifestation of demise and destruction. He looks like a purple eggplant. All that fear and intimidation is lost by his dumb design. Squishy toes? Seriously? My Zelda boss has plushy little white toes. Plushy little white piggies. Man, just so much no. Well, appearance aside, I don't know, his fight is also boring as all heck. It's rinse and repeat at its finest, and it really doesn't offer any actual challenge to the player. If he reaches the top, the world is lost! Well, don't worry, I'm not gonna let that awkward eggplant slide his way up there, not in the slightest. finally, to add insult to injury, you have to fight the son of a gun 3 whole times. And like all 3 times, they're nearly the same. It's not fun. Why? Oh, the 3rd time you fight him too, he grows arms. Oh, he looks even dumber. How did they make that design stupider? How? That's amazing. But like, thank God for Grooves, right? Seriously, when he joined the fight, I nearly jumped for joy. Man, that was so cool. So goofy appearance aside, I actually found the 3rd in prison fight to be much better than the previous 2. To be honest, I actually found it kind of fun. It's just a gosh darn shame that you had to fight him 2 times prior. He's supposed to be Demise, the final boss? That? Really? No, I would rather fight Goma again. Goma's scarier than that thing. That's the first boss. Whew, that sure was painful. You know, for someone like me who loves this game so much, it kind of sucks to see all the glaring faults. Which is a good point. How can people argue that this game is so good when it has so many glaring faults? Well, take a game like Majora's Mask, for example. What if someone doesn't like completing side quests? See, I'm under the impression that Majora's Mask is a work of art, but if someone told me that they hated doing side quests in any game, then I'd have to agree that, yeah, playing through Majora's Mask would be much more hollow for them. So my point is, not that Majora's Mask sucked, God, please don't kill me. My point is that Skyward Sword has its faults, yeah, but much like Link himself, when this game hits a strong spot, it bloody takes to the skies. If the shortcomings hurt, then the pinnacles are nothing short of brilliant. Pure brilliance. So I'll see you all next time in part 2, where I actually reveal why this game is so legendary to me. To me, this is one of the most memorable Zelda adventures I've ever gone on. Well, until then, check out my other videos if you ever get the chance. Psst, maybe throw in a like or subscription if you're that cool. But more importantly, comment below and let me know what you think. Were there any shortcomings that really stuck out to you that I missed? If so, please let me know. Doing this video was a really nice way to see the other point of view for someone who loves Skyward Sword. It's nice to admit the faults. But that said, I will do my best to let you know why I would say Skyward Sword is legendary. Renaissance Gamer Noah here. Take care.